We are live. Hello, everybody who's not here yet, probably just coming in. We're a little bit late, 6:02. We've got Currency Roundtable number 17, and it's today, December 14th, not October 14th, and it's not Currency Roundtable 18. I seriously have to stop taking so much drugs on Friday nights before I get up and work. And, I was playing Santa on Saturday all day, and it takes time in the morning to drink that amount of alcohol, smoke the menthol cigarettes, and eat the sausage to get my breath just right for Santa Claus.
Right.
So Santa Claus beard left at last night, so I feel lighter, cooler. Anyways.
Well, you never fooled us, Dan.
Yeah. You don't look any lighter.
Yeah.
No. No. I feel lighter. So
Oh, okay.
I don't know how retired neighbor Rob does the ZZ Top thing. Honest to God, I just don't know. Okay. So with that said, Dean is our co-pilot, and he's been kind enough to volunteer to monitor. So,
yep.
If anybody else can look at the comments, but I'm not seeing them. So
yep, Gen X is on. If you want to say hello.
Gen X, wow. With the Mint report, which is I find so boringly entertaining. It's weird, Gen X. It is. I mean, if you haven't watched him, Gen X does a report on what's going on with recent Mint, U.S. Mint sale products and how they're doing in the private market. What they're selling for on eBay, and it's actually pretty interesting. And some do obviously I was aware, but I was shocked that a lot more were doing well, I guess, than I thought. Yeah. And speaking of the U.S. Mint, I finally, the commemoratives are coming out. They're coming out. Those coins that no one's going to see, but they're actually pretty good coins if you haven't seen them. I was very, they're nice coins. Sure as hell beats the 1976, Drummer Boy and Independence Hall or whatever.
Are coming out.
So anyway, all right. So Dean, how many we got on?
Up to 13 now.
All right, we're gonna wait just a couple minutes. We'll go around the horn. Dustin Whitty, how are you? It's been a while. Dustin has not been able to attend, but he's more than welcome to be here. But that's understandable.
I appreciate it.
It's really good to see you.
It's good seeing you too.
I realized I still have that man crush, so it's still going on.
Yeah.
Dustin
I feel the same with you. I try calling you all the time.
I know.
Never answer.
Well, because you call me when I'm either like asleep or at work.
We're on the same time schedule, I believe.
Yeah, but you got to remember he takes a lot of naps, Dustin.
A lot of naps.
Yeah. I'm super old.
Yeah. Every time I call Dean, he answers.
Oh.
So did you get the hint? But then yet you asked me to perform illegal things for you.
That is true.
That's so there. True. All right. Ontario 100, how are you, my friend?
I'm well, thank you.
I was not able to jump on your video that you just had premiered. I should go look at it. What was the grade?
1 second, and I'll just show you the grade.
Fifth. What? No details?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, no, it's got the details.
All right. This is a shockingly. This is awesome note. This is like wow. That is so awesome.
It is the black.
The back of those is so cool.
Yeah.
And it has, 3 different comments, but who cares?
Who cares? No. If you care, I'm going to punch you in the side of the head.
What's the population of those?
Oh, like 31 for the Freeburg number. And
nice.
there's only like 75 for all the Freeburg numbers for the black.
Wow.
I
mean, that is I don't want to say it's a big boy pants note. There's no doubt about it, but it's like, it's just a cool note. I mean, you just don't see them. And I got a comment. I'm curious what you guys think. So, when Ontario did his video last Sunday, I'm watching it and it's funny to see him. All of a sudden I'm like, he's holding it. Now, you can ask the question of, why is that note not graded in Ontario? And I believe you and firmly trust that it was a real note. But all of a sudden it occurred to me, instead of asking why wasn't it graded yet, I'm like, how cool of an experience for Ontario that he got to hold that note in his hand and feel that paper and really just feel it. I thought that was really, really cool, Ontario, and I'm glad you did it that way.
Yeah, got lucky.
Got lucky. Well, I heard you had a little help. Tyler was going to go.
Absolutely, encouragement from Tyler. Absolutely.
He was threatening to go Rocky on him if they didn't.
He texted me and said, "This is it.
This is it. Do it.
You have to bid on this note."
That's awesome. So since we're talking about Tyler, how are you? Have you had your second fight yet? You haven't, right?
No, not yet. We're in talks for fight number 2. There were a couple that fell through or they weren't ideal. So right now we're just in the talking stage, but still training, still doing well.
And at this stage of the game, when you're training, I mean, does anything really? I mean, do you train? All right, it's a month before the fight, 2 weeks before the fight, whatever. Does your training change, or you just like normal regime?
No, it does a little because the further out you are from that fight date, you get to do more strength. You get to heal up a little bit if you had any injuries from your last fight. You work more technique, and then right as you get about 6 weeks out, you really ramp it up until that week before.
Well, my question is, does your face hurt? Because it's just killing me.
No.
Oh boy.
Oh, you're a pretty man too.
He's probably saying, think about what the other guy looks like.
You can be my effing grandson, but that's all right. That's all right. All right. Bouncing around, we'll go now. Stu Plubeck has got his hotel room going on, and how are you, Steve?
I'm doing good. I'm out here in Vegas. I've been here since Monday.
Is this a work trip or is this everything?
I already uploaded my top 10 Vegas pocket finds.
All right.
And,
oh boy.
The crack cocaine drug bag made it.
Oh, wow.
5,000 singles, bring it home.
So you're not playing in a tournament, or are you doing anything out there?
Oh, I already played. Yeah.
Already played.
Yeah, I already played. I finished sixth and cashed pretty well there.
That's not bad out of 7 guys.
It wasn't a huge tournament, but there was 7.
Giving you shit. That's awesome. That's great. Yeah, you got to play both ends.
Right? Was it in the parking lot or actually in a casino?
At South Point, nice. Omaha 8.
Yeah. So where are you staying at? What hotel are you in right now?
Right now, I'm in the W, which is connected to Mandalay Bay.
Oh yeah, W is nice.
I like their high-end suite tower.
Yeah,
because they think I'm somebody famous, and I'm not going to tell them they're wrong.
Of course not. Their soaps smell good.
Oh, that's great.
Just saying. All right, and Mr. Dean, how are you?
Things are going good. Yeah.
All right.
I'm busy. Yeah, I wish I was not so busy so I could be doing some videos, but I'm here tonight, so that's fine.
All right. So hopefully we killed enough time.
Do you want me to go through some of the folks that are on?
Yeah, let's know who's on.
We got Big Apple Stacker, Round and Shiny, Boss Man Davenport, Retired Navy Rob, Star ATL. We got Raiden is on, PBA is on, Sneaky Pierre, Cody's on, Gen X, I think I already said him, Banknote Den. We got pretty much a good crowd.
That's awesome. Welcome.
I don't think I missed anyone, but yeah.
Welcome, everybody. Appreciate you being here. And this is how we're doing the roundtable from now on. It makes it a lot easier on my end, although Stu can't drink as much as he normally does. His words, not mine.
I cut it off 2 hours ago for this. Unlike Dustin, who's just getting started.
Yeah, I wouldn't do that for the alcohol. I'd do that, right. I'd have to go back. I have to use the restroom if I, start doing that. That's the 2-hour rule on that.
Nice.
I
have one question. I don't know if you want to get into it, but PBA said, I know this is not a currency related question, but what are your thoughts on the silver bullion price spike and how will that affect collecting? it is a little weird to see it go so high, but I don't know if we really want to get into that tonight, and leave that just for another day.
Well, it might be a good opening for me, on tonight's topic of keeping slash maybe losing the passion.
Mhm.
And let's get into that a little bit. But I think we will touch on that because it is affecting, let's call it numismatic values. So, uh, what this, I got this email a while back, but it's like, and you know, I have been wanting to talk about it, and it's funny because each one of us, and I'm glad all of you are on because this is really talking to collectors ourselves, just being. And so I'm just going to read you a couple excerpts from the email. Very well written. So here, he's like, I've been an avid collector for some time, and while I would not presume to call myself an expert, I have developed a strong foundation in the field, but I find myself at a crossroads in my collecting journey. Like many collectors, I started with genuine passion, researching, learning, and curating thoughtfully. Yet I find that my collecting has become more about acquiring than about appreciating. The thrill of the hunt has been replaced by the convenience of buy it now. Each new addition, rather than deepening my engagement, sometimes feels like merely another transaction before I move on to the next. I worry that without a shift in perspective, my passion may dull into consumerism, a thought that troubles me deeply. Ontario, we spoke earlier today. I want to come back to that point because we kind of talked about that
Yeah.
in a different way. I'm reaching out to ask for your perspective. How can I rekindle the intellectual and emotional spark that drew me to the hobby in the first place? What have you seen or experienced that keeps a collector engaged beyond the simple act of acquiring? I suspect the answer lies in a richer pursuit, whether through research, community involvement, or a more deliberate collecting strategy. But I'd love to hear your thoughts. So that's first reaction. Let's go around the table. Dustin, any reaction to that?
First of all, that's a well worded email.
Really
That's
was
very
well written.
well said. Um, I don't know. So you have to obviously find your niche or whatever you want, however you
Mhm.
want to call it. You need to find what makes your heartbeat faster, you know? And obviously I'm into the fancies and everything, but I dabbled in large size stars, small size
Mhm.
stars, notes that make you go, oh my God, that's weird. I dabbled in all that stuff too, but ultimately my heart rate went up whenever I got the fancy stuff going on. So I think it to kind of get that fire going again and everything, you may look at other aspects of the hobby. I'm not sure what all he collects or if he's narrowed it down or whatever he collects, but maybe go into something else. I always thought, getting into large size stuff like the 1917 series or gold certificates are another semi affordable avenue to go down,
Well, and that's something where I think that's the notes that I have written down for today is, other avenues, other areas of collecting. And I think we're a pretty diverse group on what we do or do not do. Ontario, comment?
Well, I think Dustin said it well. I mean, for me, it would be specialization, focusing. Um, and that's another way of saying what he just said, really. Figure out what makes your heart beat faster and focus on that.
And it
Um,
might not be what you're collecting. I mean, that
it
Yeah,
might not.
may be true.
It may
exactly.
not. You may, and you also have to be willing to let some things go.
Yeah.
We're
Well,
not
and
all, we all don't have unlimited funds. So you have to decide where you want to focus the money you're spending on your hobby.
Dean?
Yeah, I just to reiterate what everybody else is saying. Yeah, I think that's very true. You just kind of, well, it sounds like he really was into the hunt, which I think we all are to some degree,
Mm-hmm.
and getting into that new whatever, that new direction can rekindle that the feeling of the hunt. I get what he's saying about the buy it now. Sometimes you get so far into your collection that pretty much that's where you end up, is you're now collecting things that are more buy it now because you just don't see them coming up at auction as much. So I think that's a real kind of, not a dead end, but you know what I mean? It's something that happens to, I think, to everybody in their collections. Eventually you get there, and it can be frustrating, but that's when the waiting game comes. And I think we've all said this before in previous videos. That to me is an opportunity where you can save a lot of money. And then when something really comes up that you really, really like, then you can, scoop it up for, get something really, really high quality. And maybe that's where he could go as well. But that's the only difference in my answer, that other than what Ontario and Dustin have already said.
I'm going to come back to you three, Dustin, Ontario, and Dean, because I think they've had probably the most major shift out of what they're collecting as opposed to me, Tyler, and Steve. Steve, thoughts?
Well, my first thought is kind of being the contrarian. You guys are talking about focusing on specific things. I have my list of notes that I'm still looking to collect,
Mhm.
but I still get the thrill of the hunt because every week I go through eBay. I've got 400 or 500 items that I'm watching as they come up. I'm getting rid of those. I bid on dozens of items every single week, and I'm lucky to get one or two of those items. So to me, I still have the thrill of the hunt. I'm still seeing new things. I'm still seeing things for new prices, lower prices. To me, to be able to buy a note really cheap, that is like a skill. That is what I'm proud of with a lot of the things. I showed that $2 1862 note that I got.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If that one's being sent out for grading, and in my opinion, that note's worth about $1,300. I found that note for somewhere in the neighborhood of 600 on eBay. So just to say that I have the note, that's cool in and of itself. But to say that I got that note for $600, to me, that just reignites everything about finding that note. Because yes, I love the note, but you could do that with every note in your collection. I like this particular note. I like the 1922 gold certificate. Oh, but I got mine for 125 just by hunting out on these auctions on the buy it nows like that. It keeps the excitement going because you're always on the hunt, even if it's something you already have. I don't know if that's being different from what you
Well,
guys are saying, but
no, but it is. But it is. It's what keeps the flavor going, and
right.
that brings another aspect back to it. But it leads to what I think, Tyler. If I'm guessing what you're doing with your collection now, you're still filling in some big boy notes, but Tyler, I think you're looking okay, and now I'm upgrading. You're at that level where it's like, okay, now I'm going to go back. Is that true, or what are your thoughts?
Yeah, that's true with my collection. I've kind of gotten to the point where I filled out a lot of, like, most of the holes, almost all the designs. And just with the sheer amount of money some of these new notes are costing me, it's like, you know what? Might as well get a nicer representative for these older notes that I have. And it's, a fraction of the cost that, a new note would be, even in low condition. So, ways I've kind of kept the fire alive is by doing more research on the people on our currency. You look at Robert Morris, Stephen Decatur. Who are these guys? Benton, who's on the $100 gold certificate. Just going in and really researching these people, so you have a new appreciation for the note. Even just being a part of this community here on the Roundtable, that keeps that fire alive. Doing the market reviews that I've been doing with Ontario, just looking through results and seeing how the prices of the notes are shifting and changing, seeing what's, becoming more or less expensive, and then sharing that with the community keeps things engaging without me needing to spend money.
Mm. Yeah.
True.
And likewise, what Steve does and Dustin, uh, going out there, finding a good deal, and just, doing vest pocket dealing, buying
Mhm.
and selling. There's a lot of fun in that. finding that good deal, making a couple bucks, maybe starting a challenge. You're like, I've got $1,000. Let me turn it into, 1,500 and then use that money to buy a note.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's where, I mean, when reloading or upgrading, you have that. Okay, I spent $300 on this note. The next no upgrade is now 600. Well, you're going to get that $300 credit. But the difference is, I mean, Dustin, you're kind of the poster child of this group from this question, and it's no judgment, other things in your life that I'll judge you for. Uh,
That's fine.
but you just said, I'm out. Yeah, I'm not out. I'm done. I'm selling my collection. I've done what I've accomplished. And you did it in a fashion to me that it's like, yeah, yeah, I don't know how to explain it. You didn't lose the passion. You weren't crying in your soup about it. Not that our emailer was. I'm not saying that. But you're just like, bam, I am going a different direction. And maybe it wasn't that quick.
Yeah. With me, I guess it was kind of the way I was raised. You're you're putting your whole heart into whatever you're doing. With me, I'm a teacher, so education. Like if I don't give my students 110% every day, what the hell am I doing? You
Mhm.
know? And that's how it is in all aspects of my life, from marriage to education to whatever. And I felt like that, with the whole fancy game, I had accomplished everything that I personally could afford.
Yeah.
And man, those notes that, I was really into the large size fancies. Those notes frustrated me more than anything because, John Doe would have one that I knew was worth 600 or 700 bucks, and there it's $2,500 on eBay or wherever. And, Ontario and I had that conversation once a week. We would,
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it
and that's
was,
that's kind of like we're gonna probably go to shifting gears a little bit, Dustin. And that's part of the problem, I think, is that, but we'll get to that. But I mean, you just try, and it's not something that you haven't done before. You had a Morgan Silver Dollar collection, and you're like,
yeah,
yep, I'm switching direction. I've done what I've done. And
yep,
I think that may sound extreme to a lot of the collectors they're looking, and I get that, but I
yeah.
also get, what, I've achieved what I want to achieve. I can't move it any farther, so I'm just gonna go completely 180-degree turn to something else.
Yes, yes. And with someone mentioned silver prices earlier and everything, it was I've thought about starting the Morgan thing up again. I've thought about, I completed a 2 cent piece collection.
Yeah, that's
That's
the other
cool.
one.
And that I tell that to people and they're like, "Oh my god, that's a tough one." It's not a hard one until you start setting those parameters.
Mhm.
I want only
Hmm.
XF40 or whatever. I've thought about doing that again and kind of being the black sheep in the currency roundtable here, where Dan can hate me just because I'm doing coins.
He
It's not
already does.
personal, not
Yeah.
personal. But I mean, but that leads into Dean in Ontario. Dean, I mean, you're a Morgan Dollar guy, and you have, over the last 3, 4, 5, 6 years. I mean, I know you've always had currency, but you've really come to that. Was that part of? Was that okay? I've kind of gone where I can go with my Morgans. What got you to currency, I guess, and having the interest that you do have?
Well, with the Morgans price wise, if they can continue to hold value, they continue to be super popular.
Hmm.
I took Ontario's advice in the sense of, try to specialize a little bit more. So I kind of gravitated more toward the San Franciscos. I'm still trying to put together a nice Morgan San Francisco set. But in the meantime, the prices just seem to be kind of crazy. Ontario and I were just kind of talking about this the other day. I was at a show and it's like, the asking price for a specific Morgan, say it's 600 bucks, and they won't budge. And then you go to sell that, 6 months, a year later, and it's suddenly, oh, we only will give you 350 for it. It just is frustrating. So yeah, I think I wanted to go elsewhere with my collecting. Yeah, I had some currency that I never really collected, but as I've gotten to know you all, I feel more comfortable in the currency space, which allowed me to kind of open the door and, start buying some larger notes because I didn't have any large notes in my collection. So I started with a gold certificate and then the Black Eagle, and then the rest is kind of history. But right now, I'm feeling the hit after trying to pick up just some nice American US large notes. And the prices on those seem to be going up. Maybe that's just my perception. I don't know.
No, they're going up.
Yeah. So I've been hitting a lot of Canadian notes because, especially with the tariffs right now, a lot of people don't seem to be buying them at the same way that they used to. So I've gotten some good deals with some Canadian large size notes, and I'm just that's where I'm at right now. But yeah, I still pick up cheaper things here and there. But right now, as far as currency goes, I think I'm definitely pretty heavy into the Canadian large size notes. And I do have a couple bids on some US stuff tonight. So we'll see if I win.
Well, and that leads me to Ontario. Had in Ontario, from my knowledge, you're in your second iteration of you were into coins, you had gold, you had a lot of silver, and I don't want to speak for you, but most of it's gone. You have traded it out.
Yeah.
And you got into currency,
Yes,
big time. And now you use the word curated. You're curating your collection. And what do you mean by that?
Well, it's another way of saying specializing. I'm sort of turning the ship away from certain areas that I just dabbled in currency, and just said, let's focus this on certain series. That's what I did. I focused on like the 1880 series. So I'm trying to get as many notes as I can from the series 1880, both the legal tenders and the silver certificate. So for me, that's just what I did.
That's what helped keep your passion.
Right.
I mean, do we all feel passionate? I mean,
and the hunt, because you have to look for those notes. Those notes don't just appear.
Right.
So you have to look for them. They're not easy to find.
Well,
yes, as far as, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. No, you go ahead.
Well, I was just going to say, as far as coins, I have basically gotten rid of virtually all the coins I have. I think I have one graded Morgan dollar. That's it.
Yeah.
Well, and this is for me, and I think Steve, you probably compare to me as far as we collect a lot of different things.
Yeah.
And
well, I was going to say right now, it doesn't seem to be like a very good time to get into coin collecting. I mean, the person who asked the question said, with the price spike. Okay, well, what's a spike?
Depends on the coin. Depends on the coin.
A spike means it goes straight up and then straight back down. That I don't know what it's going to do, but I'm saying with silver being at the highest price it's ever been, why would you start collecting now? And
well, for those not all coins are silver, though.
Well, I mean, for that, I don't understand. The big question for me is why the fuck would you ever collect coins? Excuse my French. Sorry. No, but it's funny though, Steve, you bring that up, and that is related to that because I have recently taken Ontario's advice and say,
oh boy.
Well, I know.
There's your mistake.
Drinking. You guys, I got to quit listening to me.
Well, I'm looking through my collection, and here's what did it for me. Okay, is that, and I not being political, it's just it is what it is. My wife works independently. She doesn't work for a company. I don't. I work for a 501c3 that does not have health benefits. Guess what? My health benefits are doubling.
Right.
I don't have an extra $1,000 a month when I'm going into retirement or looking at that. And it's like, that's what it went up, $1,000 a month. Yeah. And so guess what? That dries up a lot of things quick.
Right.
When you're as old as I am and you're hitting 60 pretty quick and you're trying to do your best for retirement. There's a lot of things, and now I'm not in the poorhouse. A lot of good things happening, but that made me go, Ontario's saying this, I'm going to reevaluate. Do I need to have all these tentacles, roots going out for different collections?
Right.
I went, and then plus adding to the fact that I'm switching from my boxes to albums, to hold my currency, it was a great time to curate and go, why do I have this? Do I really want to pursue this? And then I turned and looked at my silver and went, hmm. And this is, because I do have some silver. I have some numismatic silver. I enjoy it. It does look nice. But do I need two of these upside down? Because I like to show the front and back, a big 5 ounce, the U.S. National Park quarter. Do I need that? No, I don't need it. So that's all. There's a lot of money sitting there.
Right.
And so that made me reevaluate about different aspects of my collection as well as a lot of notes. And I was going places in world notes, and I'm like, you know what? I'm just gonna pull it back and just say I'm concentrating on my Canadian collection, I'm concentrating on my Mexican collection and Cubans. Oh yeah, there's Cubans. And then there's on the back of the wall, that's the Kiwi notes that aren't going to be happening. But to me, that has helped collecting world banknotes, collecting something different. Making a list and achieving it has helped me do that, something different. And again, what happens in life happens. So we talk about these different things, and there's pitfalls to all of what we've kind of brought up. And that's kind of where I want to go now with our expertise, going, all right, so Tyler, I've experienced a little bit at a different price budget, going, all right, you're a type collector. I mean, you are, whether we agree or disagree on the types, it doesn't matter. You establish that, and now you have set your parameters for your collection. That's a key for your, being staying on path with a collection. But like you said, you are now going from buying 20 notes a year to 10 notes a year. Is that correct in an assessment for you?
Yeah, it keeps shrinking every year.
Yep.
And it went from, all right, it started out, I'm going to buy everything because it's like I need a lot of stuff and a lot of them are cheap. And then it got to the point where, all right, I really need to focus. And then even more recently, it's gotten to the point where not only do I only need, a select few types, my standards have also risen in terms of the condition of the note. So it's no longer, oh, I need that type. It looks like it's going to go cheap. Let me get it. Now it's okay. Is that a good or bad representative? And if it's bad, I'm not going to go for it.
Right.
So then, and also, okay, I want one, I call it a big boy. I just want one big boy for the year. Like that's my goal. I'm going to go after right now. I want an 1882 or a 1922 500 next year.
Oof.
And if that's the only note that I get that's new next year, I'll be okay with that. If I don't make it there next year, then I just do a couple upgrades and then I get it the following year. Life happens. You don't always have that kind of money, and that's the nature of trying to save up, and that can kill the fire. I mean, just trying to save, trying to wait and save. But staying engaged, I mean, with Ontario, with you guys, kind of keeps me interested. It keeps me disciplined.
Yeah, and that's a big answer. I didn't see that aspect of it. So, Steve, I mean, you're with what you're bringing up, it's like, yeah, the hunt, that thrill. And I know that you are now, I see you upgrading now, right? You're upgrading notes. That's been
Always
over the
upgrading.
last year, right? And you do the buy it nows.
Right.
You got your auction that you're hunting for, and I'm assuming that, it's the dopamine hit that we're all looking. I mean, that's what that's giving us, is that
Right.
that thrill.
Exactly. Yeah.
Um,
Well, it's more than just the hunt and searching out things on eBay. I've also, as I just shown, I have 5,000 singles sitting next to me. So just because I don't buy a note every single week or every single month to upgrade my collection doesn't mean I still don't get the thrill of the literal hunt by doing strap searches. If you guys have watched any of my stuff, you see the kinds of things that I find. Is it worth $1 million? No. But is it fun to find one? Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
You hear people saying, "Oh, this stuff's out there," and you're like, "No, it isn't." And then you find one. It's like, "Oh yeah, you actually can find them."
Well,
So that's the thrill of the hunt.
I think it's much more interesting to overpay for what you find for free on eBay. But there's that. And again, so Dustin, you've just gone a completely new a completely new direction. I don't know if everybody's knows. So what are you collecting these days?
I'm dabbling in buying and selling more so right now, and also I'm into like old Americana type stuff. I know Silver Surfer's not with us, but kind of
Yeah,
his type
his
stuff.
genres.
I live down here in Arkansas, and if you know anything about the Civil War, the Red River campaign, and everything that goes with that, I'm in. I have some Civil War discharge papers, some old dog tags, that type stuff.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
And oh yeah, it's really cool stuff, and it all has a story to tell, like the currency that we collect. But it's not that my fires went out for currency. I mean, I'm kind of just pissed that I can't afford what I want. You
Well,
know?
but I'm going to defend you a little bit. I shouldn't, but I will. I mean,
Okay.
yeah, it sounds bad when I say it, but I don't mean it this way. I mean, you have a track record. It seems to me you're the type of guy you achieve what you achieve and you're done.
Yeah.
And that's okay. I mean, you talked about your Morgans, you talked about your 2 cent, you talked about, and by the way, Silver Surfer did this too. He put together his what did he do? Oh, zeros and fives? What was his number?
Zeros and fives radar.
Yeah,
Yeah.
put together the entire set of binary zeros and fives and sold them.
Yep.
And just so I mean that's he achieved the goal that he wanted to achieve. So it's not unusual, and you find other things. That's a different way of doing that. If you wanted to go into, say, stock certificates, scripophily, there we go. Um, you can. There's different avenues. There's different things. You can go to stamps. Sorry, philatelists. Um, but there are different areas, and there's different areas with collecting, and that's kind of looking back at Tyler, going, you could have somebody say that's not enough for me, and I could agree with that. I don't think I could collect like be disciplined enough to just say I need those hits more.
That's yeah, right there. Tyler, it's that's awesome that you can do that. That you
Yeah,
can say, "All right, I'm going to pump the brakes for 9 or 10 months here, and hold on to my cash and save my cash." I had to have that. I guess like the dopamine hit every few weeks,
yeah.
and I'm just. It's not that I'm not disciplined in it. It's just it's a personality trait. You can't. Your DNA tells you how you're going to be. You
Well,
know.
and that's where it leads me back to Dean. Going, Dean, you're exploring. I mean, it's pretty niche, but it's cool, and you're getting me into it, you bastard.
What's that?
Um, the large size Canadian, they're not
Yeah.
obsoletes.
Yeah.
They're private banks. They're issued by the Dominion of Canada. They're both things. It's a weird.
Oh, the
It's not
chartered
weird.
banknotes. Yeah.
Yeah, the charter. Yeah,
Yeah.
the charter
Yeah.
banknotes, and you're looking at different things on that, and the vignettes are. It's like take an obsolete, combine it with a gold certificate, and put it together.
Yeah.
That's how cool these notes are. They're
Right.
Yeah.
amazing notes.
Yeah. And they can be pretty pricey. Same with the Dominion of Canada.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of deals out there. And that's why I think if you were just about to get into collecting currency or coins, like that's where you wanted to go. I think to your point before, Dan, about looking into the world market, you could really find some really, really nice stuff out there, and not spend a ton of money on it. And it's collecting. I guess you have to decide what you're doing. Are you a collector or are you an investor? And if you're going to invest, then yeah,
Well,
I would say
and
stick
I'm
to
I'm
U.S.
saying,
stuff.
yeah.
But if you're going to collect and you want to be passionate about a collection that you're putting together, you could really start, with some really nice world stuff and put together an amazing collection.
Well,
Um, you know,
I'm just
anyway,
be clear. I think we're all talking, and I know you know this, Dean. We're talking that we're as collectors. We're not,
absolutely.
you
Yeah.
might be doing this on the side, but that's fine. But we're talking as a collector, not vest pocket, which again, Ontario, we need to address. So when we're getting into these, the kind of the warning that, if you're going to do that is the kind of the be careful. I mean, it was funny, and again, talking with Ontario, who again, I appreciate your time and going over these things.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, I want to go to a different currency, right? So Confederates, obsoletes,
Mhm.
worlds, we've talked about worlds.
Right.
In Ontario, in our previous conversation, you said nationals. And I'm
Yeah.
like, that is. I mean, it's funny how as US currency, a lot of US currency, I know I am one of those that treated nationals kind of as a separate category.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, I think they are. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so what are the pitfalls of those? I mean, I'm trying to think of another category, but it is, obsoletes, world, nationals, and
Eras.
Errors,
errors.
yeah.
Well, yeah, okay, I'm treating as a,
Yeah.
that's going to be
Fancy
a
serial
yes.
numbers. That's a whole different niche.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that's the next thing is that's like, okay, nationals, Confederates, obsoletes, and world, you can go there in
Right.
changing direction. But then you get into, again, glad I have who we have on tonight. There's the errors, there's the fancy serial numbers. That's a whole thing.
Right.
And I guess the biggest thing is that, all right, the the biggest downfall of once you go to a secondary, and I don't mean that derogatory, but it is. It's secondary to US notes in this country. It just is.
Mhm.
How much information comparatively is there for errors,
Or-
for fancies, for
There- There's like two books that I know of. Off the
Yeah.
top of my head, you've got United States Paper Errors by Frederick Bart.
yeah,
Uh,
Bart
yeah,
has his. Yeah.
I've met them at some of the shows. I got their book. I got my mismatched serial number from them.
oh,
Yeah, so I mean, highly, highly respected people when it comes to errors. The problem with errors, though, is that now you're talking about coin collecting and only 10% of those people collecting paper money and only
right.
10% of those paper money collectors collecting errors. So
Right.
the
Yeah.
market is smaller and smaller and smaller. But you have to remember that when you're dealing with errors, you're dealing with a very small number of notes to begin with.
Mhm.
Um,
True.
they
Very
don't
true.
really count how many errors have escaped, so you don't know a finite number. But when you're a strap searcher like me, you know how hard it is to find any. I think I've found one legitimate error in all the notes that I've ever searched. I've had to buy all my other errors. And people have to understand the difference between a printing error versus just, a bad cut or, you know,
Right.
Yeah,
my not an error series
exactly.
there. We
Right.
can just go there with that.
Right.
Um,
Yeah. And
yeah.
that's going to be so. Well, let's go there a little bit because that goes to, I think if you're seeing prices, by the way, overall, and this isn't that currency prices has gone up. And by the way, yes, it has. And by the way, yes, I think that's a good thing because that means our hobby is healthy.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't think they've gone up too much. I do think the Friedberg book, the purple guy, I think those are inflated. It's a guide. It is a guide, but I think it's inflated in a lot of places. And I think the market has gone to that. And it concerns me that the big bad, well, maybe not bad, but one company now owns most, 80% of the pricing guides in the currency world right now. CDN.
Mhm.
Oh, I do want to throw this out there as we're talking about prices and values and stuff like that. With the silver price just going through the roof, people can't afford to buy silver. Let's face it, it's just getting ridiculously expensive. But they can turn to paper notes, which haven't exploded 60 times in value. They have gone up, but not at the same rate as silver prices have,
Right.
which means you're going to see a lot of people who would be spending money on silver deciding to come our way. And I think that's a good thing for our market.
Yeah. I mean, it is. But I mean, as far as knowledge and there are books out there on all of these things. World Banknotes. This world is tough. World is a potpourri of. It's probably got the least amount of information. There's good Confederate books, as Stu said. There's good Errors book. There's the one fancy book that has come out. What was that? It's currency systems. Yeah, but it's
Yeah.
something, right?
Right.
Um,
Yeah,
but
his
those are,
stats are really good, by the way.
Yeah, his
All of
yeah,
stats
his,
are awesome,
yeah.
but
but
yeah,
right. But you get to the point where, buy the book and there's not much in really price help support except going out there and trying to find. And that's the problem with fancies and world banknotes. I'm going to lump them in there. And errors is that how do you compare one error to another? I like a fancy serial number with zeros and sevens. It's James Bond. It's got more of this. It's Lucky Seven. Nope. Why is that more expensive than threes? It shouldn't be. It's, what if it's four zeros and four threes opposed to sevens, it's the same statistical uh number
Prob-
that's going to come out. Why is it
probably.
different? Well,
Right.
it is. It just is. I mean, you can't, right? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder, especially when it comes to Dustin Whitty.
Yeah,
Um,
Just demand,
it's
it's
demand.
demand.
popularity. Yeah.
Cultural aspects. I've said it numerous
Yes,
times. Some numbers are bad luck and good luck in different cultures.
Right.
And I pieced together the eights and zeros radar set, and it was stupid. Some of the notes because the eights are
that's an
lucky in
Asian.
the
Yep.
Asian culture, and I had, I was probably fighting the same 15 guys for a standard $100 note, and I'm paying 150 for it because, well, we're all after it, you
So
know.
that's the pitfalls on those types of categories.
Right.
You're not going to have a lot of, and with what's going on eBay, okay, I've got to do this. I'm going to share my screen. I got to ding. I can never not ding eBay. Sorry. All right. You guys see my screen?
Says you're starting to share the screen.
Okay.
There it is.
Let me hide my toolbar.
Watch it. If you're showing eBay stuff, I don't want you to get a copyright strike.
Wow. I can only hope so.
Oh boy.
But this came up, and
Oh man.
yeah, they're asking 18.9 for an 1822 gold certificate. This is right live right now. Is
Yep.
it wrong? But this is where my point is that it's a
Oh,
four-digit serial number and it's a star note, right?
Yeah.
We all know it's a star note. Star note's massive
it's
value.
a mule. It's a mule, and there's only like, I think on those there's 4 or 5
So
on
they're
that Freebird.
right. So as a new collector, do you know that, right?
No,
Um,
that's where the education. That's the fun part right there. That's where the education comes in.
Hmm.
Why is that $19,000? And
Right.
automatically I'm getting the purple book that you said, and that's gonna act as the springboard of the research. But
yep.
that right there is a note that I would have personally went after in a past life, is what it amounts to with that kind of price. But you can find a note like that if you know what you're looking for. Sometimes they'll come up for 6 or 7 grand, and you're going to have a true unicorn in your collection.
All right. I'm not sharing anymore, right?
Yeah, you
No,
are.
you're still there.
Or
Uh, wow, well, I can never figure that out, can I? I don't want to be sharing.
That's a good example of where you were talking about the book is out of sync because the book
yeah,
certainly doesn't have that kind of price on that note, even the mule. So,
Yeah, and I'm not saying, oh, it might be worth that. I don't know.
I don't know.
But I know that we've all seen the outrageous eBay prices. And I think at least with US currency, you have the ability there's sources to check that you should have. With errors, with fancies, that they're not there. What's it worth is what it's worth. So I kind of say if you going in down that road, it's like for me, a world banknote, I'm never going to recoup my money on world banknotes. Overall, I'm just not. I collect them because I like to collect them.
Right.
So there's other. So for the newer folks, the you know you, oh
Well, it's education. You have to educate yourself on values. You just have to. And current auction prices are the best, from my opinion. Recent auction prices are the best place to look.
Okay, I'm sharing
I
my
get
screen
scared every
again.
time you say that.
Say again?
I get scared every time you say that.
Why?
Because everybody with the junk fancy serial numbers says, well, you can look at eBay prices and they're selling for $8.
Oh, okay.
There
Well,
must be
No,
that's a good point.
yeah,
That's a good point. I wasn't talking about the niche stuff like that. You're
right.
right. That's a good point. Not that stuff. No.
I know that. I'm just to hear
Yeah.
it out loud. It's like,
Okay.
oh, I
All
want to agree
right.
with you, but yeah.
Okay.
Well, and then it's like, I know Ontario, you got the full set of this. Everybody should be seeing the National Collectors Mint site.
Okay.
Ontario, you do have the full set of these, right?
I had never seen these before.
Yeah, no, thank goodness. Thank goodness. Because this is the closest we're ever going to get to a commemorative for June 2026.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my
oh
God.
boy.
I know. So, folks, you
Oof.
guys, I'm saying these as a partial joke, but man, they get into things where there's this one that we found. Dean actually found it.
Well, it was because a woman, when I
Yes.
did my video on the $1 Hawaiian that I had bought, she told me that it wasn't worth anything, and that she had bought a $2 Hawaii note, and the dealer told her that it wasn't worth anything. So just because it has the Hawaii on the back doesn't mean that it's worth anything. So I gently corrected her that unfortunately she is right, the dealer is right, that there is no $2 bill with Hawaii on it. And unfortunately, it's companies like this that puts this
Yeah.
stuff on the notes, and then now all of a sudden people are getting misled, or scammed, whatever word you want to use.
Yeah.
It's a scam. To me, it's a scam when you're going
Yeah.
down this deep.
Yeah, I feel
And-
really bad for her because that's just
Yeah.
crap.
And again, Steve, you talk about this a lot. I mean, I think that's the biggest point about your education and what we're trying to prevent is
Yeah.
that person buying this on eBay or this website and then going to the local coin dealer and it was this or that.
Yeah,
Um,
I'm not afraid to use that scam word. I mean, if
Yeah.
you are a seller and your target audience is people
Mhm.
who don't know, well, that's a
Mhm.
scam, you know?
Mhm.
So, I mean, yeah, it's a scam.
I mean,
Period.
look at it. It's, here's another one. This is an Etsy website.
Yeah.
They're just doing this at home on their copy machines.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And
See,
I
that
work-
one I don't know. I don't know how they can get away with that because read the title. I don't know how they can get it because that is not an 1880. I just don't get it.
Exactly.
I don't know how
Exactly.
they can actually put that. See, that to me is a scam and not misleading. That is a scam because they're not
Right.
saying that it's in 1995 with the stickers on it or whatever. That's pretty crappy.
This is
Yeah.
really, really,
Thanks,
really.
Dan. My blood pressure's up now.
Well, I mean, but this is where it's like, hey, new collectors, and
Yeah.
it's like, we're trying to
Yeah.
cover information for all. But it's like
Yeah.
experienced collectors, you got to say, stop this madness. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah.
It really, and I will say this, I wasn't aware of this until I was Googling, but it's like, this
Oh,
is the U.S. Mint selling 100-year World War One set. And if you
Yeah.
look closely on it, I'm like, oh, well, I didn't know. Come on.
So you're paying for cardboard, it looks like, right?
yeah.
Well,
It's a
yeah.
top-
I mean,
At
it's
least
like
it says copy.
Yeah.
it
Yeah.
does say copy, but it's not even a real. Why? If I'm doing this, I'm sorry, I'm yelling at the U.S. Mint or B. Why isn't that an actual reproduction from a print plate? It's not the real note. The twos are different. It is an
Yeah.
alter. It is not the same.
Yeah.
But they do throw in $2 bills, two random, but they are sequential. Ooh, break this setup.
Yeah, but aren't they different reserves?
Yeah, but no, they're the same serial number. Sorry, they are the
Yeah,
same
I was gonna say.
serial number, and they
Yeah.
might even. This one happens to be 2018 to 1918,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's something, I guess. But it's like, this is probably out of these types of what we'll call novelty things, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Um,
I
yeah,
work heavily with local pawn shops here,
Yeah.
and it is. I mean, you guys know this. It's if you go into a pawn shop and say, "Hey, you have any currency?" This is the kind of stuff you see. You see so many of the
yes.
colored deals, and it's amazing how many people bring in those colorized bills, like the twos and stuff. I didn't know those were being made, but I'm sure I will see them in the next 6 months
Well,
or
the
so.
minute they're sold out, I was shocked to see that. I am not sharing my
Yes.
screen anymore, correct?
No, you're not.
Correct.
Right.
Okay. Um, so that's, that's the things to work out, and it's just not. Well, and there is a resource. This is actually a really good resource. I forgot about this, Ontario, that we found this. I'll share again.
So,
Um, Bogus or facsimile Confederate notes.
Oh yeah.
Crutchwilliams.com. Um, he's listing out these are not real Confederate notes. So, and there is a lot more information on Confederates out there. I mean, Pierre Fricke's got his book. There is some stuff,
yeah.
but I
Oh,
mean, there's a lot of fake stuff out there.
yeah,
Mhm.
this Confederate notes, that is tough because you've got the authentic notes, you have contemporary counterfeits from the time, you have the reproduction notes, you have
Right.
the fantasy notes. I mean, there are so many different types of non-real
Yeah.
Confederate notes. I've got a lot of the different ones, just to be, just to have some in my collection. But yeah, there's a lot of different ways that you can get swindled if you don't know with
And
Yeah.
Confederates.
that's the point too, Steve. You'd show, I think the terminology, once again, our community, they call them contemporary counterfeits, meaning they were counterfeited at the time those notes were circulating.
Right.
A
Yes.
modern counterfeit, it's a name that doesn't make sense, but for
Yeah.
educational purposes.
Think of it this way. A contemporary counterfeit was made to spend at the time,
Mhm.
whereas a modern counterfeit is made to fool a collector.
Okay, I'm lumping this one in because this is going to tie back into our gold and silver prices. And I've got a couple things that I found out about just because what I'm doing with my collection. Um, all right, folks, tell me, let's bring this up. Share. I can do this. I'm a big boy. Tell me what numismatic value these have. Oops.
That's X. That's
Well,
none.
I screwed it up. Share. Where I lost. There we go. What
No,
numismatic value do these have?
just novelty. I don't know why you would grade it.
I have
Yeah.
no idea.
Well,
I'm actually surprised. Why did they grade it?
Well, this is what I can tell you. Notes that are like that are very difficult to damage. So when they are printed, they can get graded extremely high. So the thought process here is somebody grabs 20 of these notes, sends them all in, and they may actually get one with a 70. And I think that's the goal because I don't have a note in my collection that's graded 70. But you could end up getting one of those graded 70. I mean, so what? It's just a piece of garbage graded 70, but it's at least a 70 graded note.
Yeah.
well,
Yeah.
and here's where I was looking at with these, and here's my issue is what their I mean, this is should be nothing different than a coin, right? I mean, all intents and purposes, right? It should be a coin.
Yeah.
And if you're looking at, oh, this is I want to make sure I compare apples to apples.
Well, those are gold backs, so that's different
Yes,
stuff.
right. Well, that other one was a go back too, just different brand, Steve. Sorry.
Okay.
It contained the exact same amount as this particular gold back. Again, it's a 25, and if I was doing my research correctly, it has an Arizona 10 has 0.311035 troy ounces of 24 karat gold, which is worth roughly $43 today. How much is this selling for?
That's a 25 there, though.
Is that what oh, 10, that's right. Sorry, I'm smoking crack. I was doing 10.
Yeah. Do a 10.
Thank you.
There you go.
These
85
drugs are getting out of hand.
No, it's what, well, feel good
Oh,
generation.
I see what you're saying. The premiums are high on those gold buys.
These are super
Oh,
high.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it's $43 today of gold value, give or take. I just did rough math
Right,
based on today.
right.
And yet they're selling it for $85. And I know AppMax isn't the cheapest one to ever sell this note. But then, Steve, you said it earlier. Well, let's get it graded. Oh,
Yeah.
and are you going to pay how are
Oh,
you
there's
going
your
to get
there's
your
your
money back?
70.
There's your
There you go.
70.
It's a 70. That's great. Oh, it's PPQ, even better. It's probably a mule.
Yeah, but it's not a PMG 70 star.
Right, exactly.
Oh boy.
So, I mean, this is where I have a lot of problems with these, and just what's the numismatic value of these things? I don't think they have any.
They just have whatever gold is in it, the melt.
Yeah, whatever gold is in it, and if you're going to buy it for that,
or close to it. Yeah.
and try to get this. You should be able to pay spot.
Yeah,
Well,
that's what you
Right?
should be. Yeah.
Or close to it. Yeah.
I mean, I know the design and you had the science and engineering
They
that
have to
went
make
into
a
making
profit,
this note,
yeah.
but wow. Which again brings me back to, I'm going to stop my share here. This is just the be careful,
Yes.
for what you're looking to, plus it's irritating me now as I was doing a little bit of research for this. But going through mine and talk about, is it a good time to buy coins? I don't know about that. All I'm seeing is that my silver that I've purchased over the last probably 10, 15 years, because the silver price has gone up, there's almost no numismatic value to it. So like that 5-ounce quarter from the mint, those, when silver was at $32, it was selling for $350. Well, guess what it's still selling for today? $350. And that's what was the price? $298 for 5 ounces of silver, or whatever we were talking about the other day, Ontario. It has gone up.
It's gone up. Yes.
Yeah. So you used to have rounds, or I'll call it from sovereign mints that had some numismatic value to them, and that's now gone from that aspect. But I get the silver price gone up.
Just to throw it out there, what happens if the price goes back down?
Well, can you go back to what you just said? Because I'm not following you. Are you saying like an American silver eagle has numismatic value?
I am saying I have some. Well, but it does have some numismatic. Then why does it sell for $70?
Because people buy it for that.
Because people buy it. No,
I'm sorry.
No, I get it.
Unless
I get it.
the only one I hold on. The only one I
Is it
hold
the
on to.
95 West Point, or there's one of those through there that they didn't mint many of them.
Right.
Isn't there a rare year in those things, Dean? Like
some of them
or something.
Yeah,
some of them
have 1 billion made instead of.
But the thing is, this is when they're all perfectly made, and they're not put into circulation and worn down like our working money or what money used to do. I don't know how you'd ever see it having any type of numismatic value. At least I never did, and I used to stack quite a bit of gold and silver.
Well, stacking silver, right? That was silver, not the coin itself. Regardless.
Yeah.
Now, how that affects currency? Thoughts?
You mean the price
all the silver collectors love bragging. Silver collectors love bragging on how they paid $5 or $10 an ounce for their mountain of silver. Well, if it's worth $50, $60 an ounce now, to me that would be a great time to get rid of it and to show a huge profit on your sales, not
Right.
to buy more of it, you know. But
Correct.
what do I know? I'm just a paper guy. But yeah, if you've got 100 ounces of silver that you paid $10 an ounce for, you could buy some pretty nice notes by cashing that out right now.
Well, and
Absolutely.
I don't understand why folks may or may not be doing that. But yeah,
I'll be honest, if I still had my stack, I would do that.
Yeah.
I would absolutely sell it and buy a really, really high grade, really nice, expensive piece of currency. I think it would be a great addition to a collection. And yes, if you want to look at it as an investment, you could, but I think it would be something smart to do personally. But
yeah.
I would
that's just my opinion.
I would
Tyler?
say it's probably more intelligent in the long run to hold on to your silver and gold over buying collector notes. The notes that I'm seeing that are strongest are going to be those 65, 67 PPQ $5 educationals, really high grade rainbow notes,
Mhm.
really high grade poker chips. But if you're going out there and you're buying uh, like a VF20 tombstone, or if you're going to buy like a choice fine, I don't know, maybe like an 1891 $5 treasury note. You know, those more collector grade notes, you are not going to see the same return.
Yeah, yeah,
I would say if you're in silver and gold, mostly just for the hedge against
right.
inflation, stay there
Mhm.
and keep staying there because obviously I'm not an economist, I'm not an expert when it comes to that, but if the spot prices continue to go high like they are, that's not so good for the dollar. And
True.
collectibles without that intrinsic value in our currency, we're all collectors, we're not investors.
Right.
We love currency because we love currency. We don't love it because it has that intrinsic value that gives us security the same way silver and gold might. So that's just my 2 cents on the matter.
All right. So
Like
wrapping
apples
up.
and oranges. Yeah.
Yeah, it
Yep.
is. It is. I mean,
It
it's
is.
interesting. It's funny that we always
Interesting.
wind up talking about it where it's like because it is there and we're part of the numismatic community. At least we try to include ourselves, ANA. Um, anyways, uh, so wrapping that up, as far as losing the passion, you got to find it. You just might lose the passion. That might be it. You're so focused on what you're doing, and your scope is narrow. And I think the point is widen it. Look for
Yeah.
something different to collect with
Right.
currency. Then I think that's the short end of the subject. But there are pitfalls in all of those categories, and most of them revolve around not the same amount of information, and certainly the pricing is very, very unpredictable
Mhm.
with those.
In
Because
certain areas. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, I go back to what Dennis said about, if you're going to get an error, get one with sizzle. Well, I might think one has more sizzle than Dean does. I don't know. A butterfly might be better than a gutter fold. I just like it better, whatever. And that's the problem. How do you gauge that? You can't. So, Dean, with comments, let's go to our comments and we got any questions, comments? Anybody beat
Lots of
what's up?
comments on the gold back conversation.
Okay.
Yeah, pretty much the same agreement with everybody that not numismatic at all. Yeah.
I mean, it's a
Uh,
coin that's really super flat,
mhm.
right?
Yeah,
Thin coin.
yeah. And going back to what Tyler said too, I think I would stick to the gold and silver rounds before I'd go to the gold backs. But again, that's just my opinion.
Well,
Uh,
I'm not going to go there.
yeah,
I'm sure
exactly.
people can predict where
Um,
I'd go.
Well, I
yeah,
did have a marketing teacher explain to me one time that you don't show a single cent of profit until you sell.
right.
Right.
So,
And you know what, Stu, that's a great point. And that's Ontario, what you said earlier in our conversation. It's like, you can define value all you want, but once that thing sells, that does Doesn't
That's the
establish
value.
the whole value.
That's
It's
the value.
part of it. Just because
Mhm.
one note sells for 1,000 doesn't mean that same note doesn't have a range to it. And
Right.
that's the other thing. Just this sold for 1,000 right here, so give me $1,000. No, that's not value. That's that single note sold for that on that day. A value is a. That's why you need multiple sources to help you determine that. Multiple sales.
Yeah.
It could be low.
Yeah, it could be
True.
low. Could be.
So.
Anything else? So we got nothing else on that, Dean? We didn't stir up enough controversy.
No, they said definitely yell at the mint for making crap like that. A lot of people, they're just saying that those things end up in the bargain bins at dealer shops.
Right.
A lot of people were collecting nationals, and some people still collect nationals really strongly. Other people have kind of drifted off into something else like silver certificates. At least a couple people said that. A lot of people agree with a lot of the currency listings on eBay seem very inflated. I think to Steve's point, or to Stu's point, that it's a you got to look for those deals. I think, like you said, you've got constantly things in your watch list. You're looking for those auctions. But,
auction being the key word with what
yeah,
Steve
not
is
to
doing.
buy it
Oh,
now.
100%.
Yeah.
Anybody can ask any price they want for any item they want. But if you take a note and start it at $1, now you're going to see what market value is.
Right.
Exactly.
That's why I love following the auctions.
Yep.
Yep. A lot of people like the idea of collecting world, Mexico, revolutionary. I think what they mean is
Yeah,
the
that was
Mexico
another thing.
revolutionary. Yeah.
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 The colonial and continentals are a great category.
Some people
And
mention
there's a
that
lot
as
of
well.
information on those too, by the way.
Yep.
Some you might treat them as U.S. currency. I kind of do.
Yeah.
So,
No, there's a lot of great stuff in the comments. We were up to 30. I think we were up to 40 actually people watching tonight, so that's pretty good too.
Nice.
all right. Well, folks that are, if you're, you're watching, so you're probably not going to watch it again unless you're into, I don't know, pain. What I'm going to do with this one is that I'm not going to leave it on live. I am going to download it and then launch it as a normal video. I just noticed the last one. This is the third one or the second one we've done live. I can't remember.
I think.
Mhm.
I think it's
That-
the third.
Because of how YouTube sets up the channel, nobody thinks about going to the live to watch it. It doesn't show up. You have to click on it.
Oh, I see.
So
Yeah.
that's what I'm going to do with this one, with that. So other than that, gentlemen, any final thoughts?
Got a big auction coming up next month at Heritage, the fun currency auction. I
Yeah.
checked tonight.
right.
There's almost 2,000 lots
Holy bucket.
in that auction. So
Yeah.
that's a good one to keep an eye out for.
Look for some sleepers on those.
That's right.
That's the bigger ones. You can find some sleepers.
Yeah.
Tyler will.
Tyler will.
Oh,
See,
I know. Tyler, I gotta say, every time you share what you're collecting, it just I love it. It's good. It's
Tyler
cool.
scoops up a $500 note.
I
and
know.
it's
It's just like, all right, yeah.
scoops up something for $500, and it's next thing you know, it's $3,700 on eBay.
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen. With that said, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays,
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
unbelievably fun, and we will see you next time, folks. If you got any ideas for us, let us know in the comments. But we certainly appreciate your time, gentlemen. I graciously thank you for your time and effort. Thanks for being co-pilot tonight, Dean.